Alrighty, and welcome back to Heroes Hype Amateur Series, week number 84. I am Bahamut, one of the casters this evening, and I am absolutely ecstatic for what we're going to be going into here. And with me, co-casting, is going to be Fear. How you doing, bud?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm just hyped. I mean, it's Heroes Hype. It's the day before HGC starts up for BlizzCon. Like, this is the best way to start it out.
Yeah, the buzz is real, and we're here tonight. Gonna have some great games, and yeah, I think everybody's hyped for BlizzCon to get started. So,
no, it's going to be absolutely exciting. So maybe some of these teams. This is kind of the amateur weeks. There's really not like prize pools on the line or anything. So maybe we'll see some interesting drafts, and people getting a little creative before we go into the BlizzCon. Maybe trying out their own superior strats. Trying to predict what will be the strong things in BlizzCon this year.
Yeah, some good Cho'Gall Provius comps, I think, are going to be showing up.
Oh no! But we do have to, before we get too far into some of these discussions, I have to note that Ewok Thor, thank you so much for the sub. It was off stream, but we still wanted to note that looking out for us and doing that. That is everyone's just so grateful, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the subs actually still go towards the BlizzCon party. I think the sub money is still it's still just being put towards that. So if you are going to BlizzCon, you are going to the Heroes Hype party. Definitely, it's, if you got that Amazon Prime, go for it. I mean, you're helping out the party.
Yeah, I got that Prime sub just ready to go.
Definitely something that we can look forward to here. So we are actually setting up the lobby here just momentarily. We are going to be having Axe Sentinels versus Oh My Science. The one thing we just got to double check here before we go in is make sure we know which side is which as we're talking about these. Some interesting names that we're seeing also popping up in this lobby too, which I'm quite excited to see.
Yeah, I'm referring specifically to Battery, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just a little bit of hype there. I mean, that's kind of exciting just to have him, show up and play, some of these games.
Yeah, I did not know he would be participating tonight, so it'd be interesting to see also what role he's playing, because I believe he was playing the tank role mainly at the beginning of the season, and he switched to I can't remember if it was off lane or range DPS, but I think we'll probably see some tank play coming out of him.
No, that's an absolutely that's exciting. And maybe he's just like, I'm just here to have some fun. Like that's what we're really here for. So no, I'm primed for this. And the one thing that we're going to note here, so we do have Science is going to be on the left. So one thing we can note before we go into this draft, but let's just talk a little bit as we're getting set up here. Looks like everyone is readying up for the map. We're going into Infernal Shrines. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, tell me your take on the map.
I love this map. The thing about this map that's really great is it can really get stretched out. The objective, especially early on, doesn't offer too much power. Most people know to lure that Punisher right over the wall, and you don't usually get more than a front wall, maybe a fort if you're lucky out of that first Punisher, and it really lends the game to go longer, turn into a little bit of more of a macro game as the game opens up, and you can see some different stuff coming out. Not necessarily, an Abathur type map, but definitely looking for some 16 to 20 action to determine the outcome of this game here. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the drafts are affected by that. And as always, you're looking for a Kerrigan pick coming out here, despite her, slight nerf to the Shrine Clear.
She is strong, but at the same time, there's a lot of things like Greymane's really strong in the Shrines, and he just works with a full composition. He works in the solo lane, he works in the 4-man that we can see. So he's a very versatile hero. Much like, you can pick up an Alarak. We see her often too. The tight areas that you have to fight underneath with the silence from him is just very powerful. The stacking is just nice too, and telekinesis it's a strong talent.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say is I like the combination of sort of wave clear and area control that you have to make sure you dominate the shrine itself.
Mm-hmm. So we actually have a Vala ban here coming out from Axe Sentinels. And Oh My Science is going to go ahead and ban out that Cho'Gall and not Cho'Gall, Garrosh. I mean, you put it in my head right away at the start.
Yeah, here they come.
But I mean, the Garrosh here. I mean, he's really strong, but at the same time, I worry. Actually,
Arthas first pick.
I was actually about to talk about ETC coming through here, but they're really prioritizing that Arthas, and maybe they just have something they're gonna run with him, or it's just one hero's really, or one character, or one player's really strong on him.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is lending itself to some kind of Illidan play or something along those lines. The Garrosh ban, I think that's just removing an annoyance or something that you've had trouble with. Just don't have to worry about it. It's not necessarily his power level. It's just really annoying to be one step out of turn and then, punished, and there's the game. You're getting walked over on the court. Tassadar Tyrael, though, again, high prioritization on what's usually not regarded as one of the highest pick tanks. Not that Tyrael isn't strong, but he's not usually such a high pick priority from my experience.
Real quick, we got a shout out to Mr. Slack and Salt for the 4-month resub. Thank you so much, my friend. Definitely helping out that BlizzCon party. But the other thing that I want to note here is you start talking about Tyrael not being too popular and everything. But the other thing that lends me just to kind of like this start to the draft, it doesn't show too much. Yes, they're going to be going into a secondary healer. They're not going to solo support, obviously, Tassadar. It kind of gives them a nice target ban on the side of Axe Sentinels. But here's the thing. They could be going for a very, very strong control comp here. Tassadar with the Force Wall is going to be very good. Tyrael with Sanctification just overall strong in a team fight. But then you also have Holy Ground at 16 for a little bit of that control, the body blocking, the speed, the shielding. And then you can pick up something into the later half of your draft, like a Chromie, that artillery from the back line. If you just have that poking out during the entire time, you maybe just then pick up a little bit of range damage on top of that, like a Lunara, and you're set to just kind of poke and control the game.
That's true. Or you can also pivot into something extremely aggressive. And like you said, Greymane comes to mind.
Yes.
Tyrael jumping in with the Greymane under that Sanctification, that is extremely powerful. So I think that's actually smart in the way that it opens up a lot of options for the second half of the draft. And Tracer, Lucio.
I think you're right here. I think this is exactly that. This is a dive composition, and they're going to have Tassadar with Tracer here and Lucy. I mean, that's a little terrifying in my opinion.
Can Tracer get any faster? I think so. So that is very interesting.
They could pick up Ana, and I think you can take speed boost off of the Q. So you can boost on top of that. So
she might just circle around the map and come out the other side.
We'll go back in time. But just to note really quickly, we had a Genji ban as well as a Malthael ban. Malthael's just strong overall against any sort of double tank tank composition, as well as just he's strong in the solo lane and on the shrine, because if he gets his mark onto the majority of the shrine, he can just sit there and just suck most of the health out of it. It's just an easy clear. So not bad bans at all.
And I think we're looking at the 4-man here on the left. So I think we are looking for a solo laner for the last pick, whether that's going to be a Dahaka or a Leoric. That's what I'm leaning towards.
So there's the Greymane that we had talked about. It's actually going to be picked up on the side of Axe Sentinels. Nazeebo's going to be probably that. Ooh, that's interesting. No, he'll be in the rotation. Sonya will be in the solo lane. And then going up against the Sonya, like me personally, I think a Dahaka would work really well. There's a lot of good areas for him to utilize the flanking brushstroke for that, to get into that back line. But you called it. I mean,
Carrick.
It was like the first thing that we had talked about. I was like, you were like Kerrigan. I was like, yeah, but what about Sonya? We honestly, we got both, and we also got Greymane too. So a little bit of everything here, and I am absolutely excited about this matchup.
The aggression is real, but I love this classic comp coming out of Axe Sentinels. Lots of just steady picks here. Nothing risky, nothing crazy, but power through the roof.
I mean, Greymane and Nazeebo are going to stack very, very well as this game progresses here. just I mean, like Greymane scales so well just over time with just the talents that he can pick up. Nazebo in the 4-man with the rotations, he'll be able to stack quite quickly, get that Vile Infection up, and then in that late game, I, to be honest, wouldn't be too surprised to see a Toad build here from him. It seems to be the kind of the pick that everyone's been going into lately.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you have to worry about, Tracer, Tassadar, Lucio. I mean, that's going to be hard.
Especially against Nazebo. I feel like if this game goes late, as we discussed earlier, it definitely favors Axe Sentinels. But Oh My Science has the epitome of early game aggression here with Kerrigan, Tracer, Lucio. I wonder what they're going to do. If Kerrigan will be in the solo lane, or if it's actually going to be Tassadar.
I don't think you'd separate the Tracer from the
No, and I don't
probably
think
be the
so
Kerrigan,
either.
but she'll have to play safe against that Sonya.
And interestingly, it is battery on the Tassadar.
Ooh.
All right.
We're going to wait here till 20, and then I'll start on the left side. Alrighty, and on the left-hand side, we are going to have Oh My Science with Thiru on the Kerrigan, Battery on the Tassadar, Troy on the Tracer, Dark Chimera is going to be on the Lucio, and Hacho is going to be on that Tyrael.
Oh,
and we have a remake right off the bat.
Excellent. I don't know what the issue was.
Alrighty. So it looks like we'll have a quick remake here. It's going to be same picks and bans and everything. I believe it was just a potential server. I don't know. I didn't catch what the chat had said.
I didn't either.
But either way, it looks like they're doing remake, same heroes, and picks and bans and all that. So I think we're just gonna select heroes and go right back into this.
So I think we're definitely going to see Sanctification Material. I don't think that that's going to be any question.
Yeah, I don't think that the Judgment would be cool to see, but with the potential for the Divine Shield, I mean, it kind of nullifies it, and realistically, Sanctification would get a lot more value into that game. So no, I agree with you. We will see Sanctification there, but the real thing is the duality of like having Sonya on your team, but also going up against a Kerrigan. Cause like the whole conversation that I've had with people is that, it's like you can pick up all these things. And if you're winning over if you're winning over the shrine, like you get a couple kills, you can start to push up that lane and then just leave Sonya or leave Kerrigan behind. They can solo that shrine so quickly that your team will get a lot more value and just, pushing and just opening up that lane. And then you can move on to a keeps front gate rather than just working on that fort. So definitely a lot of value on both of the sides here, and I'm absolutely ecstatic once we get into this game.
Yeah, and I think that Oh My Science is gonna rely on lane kills. They're gonna try to focus on making the aggression happen before the shrines and making sure that they get those staggered deaths to sort of put the experience off kilter, and then that should maybe go for a 3 to 4 talent lead. They're going to try to just get the early talent lead and just force that down the throat. But it is difficult for them to finish early. That's what is concerning. If this comp was coming out on like a Battlefield of Eternity, I would be terrified. Maybe not the Kerrigan so much, but this kind of aggression.
You still swap it out for. I mean, still, like it's still a very well put together composition.
Oh, absolutely. I just wonder if they'll be able to close early enough with the advantages they make.
That is true. I mean, it's hard to kind of predict something like that because it's really just how it comes down to like the burden of execution. It's mm-hmm. You could draft out of your mind like the best thing on earth, and on paper it will win 100 times over, but still you gotta actually execute the talents. You gotta the plays, and you gotta pick the right talents, and so it's a lot of that too. So that's the thing that I'm really curious to see, because the dive comp on the side of I'm trying to memorize the names here, but
it's Oh My Science.
Yeah, Oh My Science, it's really, really interesting, and there's a lot of value to it and a lot of momentum with it, but I feel like it's one of those things that if it does get knocked out or, destroyed too quickly that it could reverse snowball and it would just go right back over to Axe Sentinels.
Yeah. And Nazebo I think it comes down to Tracer's execute. I think the burden of execution is on Oh My Science, but the Nazebo needs to be careful with his footing. I think he takes one step out of place. Lucio dips around and boops him, and he just can't get to that front wall fast enough. He could be wiped out because there's going to be no Divine Shield before 10. You got the armor coming out of Uther, but is 15 armor going to be enough to stop a pulse bomb plus, all that death coming down out of Oh My Science?
I know it's really, really exciting. I don't know. It's at the same time, like, part of me is just like, what if you just take Divine Storm though? Like, just like, what if? What
That's
if
true.
Dive in and you do hit R and she goes nowhere, and then Arthas follows up with, a Howling Blast, and then you still have, Sonya potential for the leap. You have Greymane diving in, you have a zombie wall, you have Gargantuan. It's just, there are all these possibilities. Now, this is a wonderful, miraculous world, but who knows?
Yeah, and that's a common, or in the past has been a common counter to Illidan. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's totally out of the realm of possibility here.
No, I'm absolutely excited about this. So as we get going here on the left-hand side, we are going to have Oh My Science with Cyril on that Kerrigan. Dark Chimera is going to be on the Lucio. Troy will be on the Tracer. Hotcho will be on that Tyrael. And Battery going to be on the Tassadar.
And on the right side, we have Axe Sentinels in red with Astral Exegir on Uther, Dr. Luigi on Sonya, Tarm on Arthas, Jon Snow on Nazebo, and Flyest Raven on Greymane.
And it looks like as we get into this matchup, we just have a little bit of a small startup here between a few of the members, but it doesn't look like we're going to have too much of a fight happening. It's realistically just going to be posturing, kind of getting the first wave and just rotating the solo laners into their lane. Is Tyrael going to be solo laning?
It looks like it right now, and we have some cheese sprays coming down out of Axe Sentinels too. I think that's interesting. That's some interesting mind games.
Who doesn't love some cheese sprays? Actually, just the one thing to note really quickly in that top lane, do they have Nazebo? No, they're dedicating a couple members up into there. It looks like on the side of Axe Sentinels, they're not too sure, but they're going to go ahead and have that Nazebo going up against the Tyrael here.
So not at all what we expected for the solo lane. Ooh, and Tracer gets a early pick on Greymane. I don't even know if she had Pulse Bomb available. Now she is at 90%, so that was a strictly shoot him with the pistols kill.
That definitely was quite a good early kill. Definitely, it gives them a little bit more momentum on their side because they're going to be able to make this rotation. There isn't that Greymane for the clear. It gives them a little bit of an experience bump here. And so realistically, we're just going to be seeing these just back and forth rotations, and just this small experience gain that you're going to be getting here is beneficial, but it's not going to be anything that's going to be, game changing at this point.
Yeah, what's interesting to me about this 4-man is that Kerrigan's going to have to act as sort of the pseudo frontliner into an Arthas and a Greymane and an Uther, and we'll see how big 3-man combo coming out of Kerrigan, and Jon Snow falls behind the wall.
So that's going to be the second kill being picked up once again. And that one's going to be by Lucio. We actually have Citra taking a little bit of damage here by... Oh, there's the boot back, but he's going to get the double root from Arthas here. They're able to get Kerrigan out here. Looks like they're trying to get that cocktail through the gate. It might bite them in the butt here, and they will get that kill onto the Greymane. It looks like they're going to have to retreat at this point and just give this shrine over, at least until they get their Greymane back.
Yeah, it's looking like this shrine is going to, at least the early part of this shrine will definitely be going over to Oh My Science. And Axe Sentinels sort of just playing back, making sure they get their experience. They're only behind by about half a level, so, no time to panic. Just be calm and make sure that you group back up and pressure this shrine once you're all regathered.
No, I absolutely like that. And now they're starting to rotate their team in here. Now they do have the Greymane currently in the top lane, so this is a 4v5. This could be a little risky. Do you have Tom taking quite a bit of damage? Going to be able to get out potentially? No, it looks like he will be falling, so it's going to be Arthas falling as they pick up this Frozen Punisher, and that's going to be stomping down this bottom lane, and there isn't a Arthas to kind of body some of this damage. They do have a Sonya, though.
And that has turned into a full level lead. I'm curious to why they played so far forward, knowing that Greymane was going to be in the top lane. Ooh, and Sonya also falling to the Punisher right on top of the wall.
Just really quickly to note, we actually have Tassadar in that top lane trying to push back the Greymane. We actually have Kerrigan diving in very far, getting a pull onto the Uther, who will die. He will have his Ghost form for a little bit of healing, so look to see Oh My Science to back off a little bit here. Actually, Tracer still just being an absolute nuisance on a few of these members. Uther will finally pass on to the next realm. And so it looks like they'll play a little bit safer, but this Punisher is going to be ending here, so they'll just go ahead and give this over.
I mean, I can't even believe we talked about Burden of Execution before. We have 6 kills to 0 and almost a level and a half, almost a 2-level lead coming out with a 7 talent advantage for Oh My Science already 4 minutes into the game.
No,
1
absolutely.
already gone.
Just an absolutely strong start to this match from Oh My Science, and they're looking to keep this momentum going, and that was one of the things that I was saying is the momentum of Tracer. Like, you can keep, as long as you can keep that going, you should be fine. It looks like we have a boot for the disengaged, but it doesn't look like we're going to be having any deaths at this point. Tassadar looks like he's going to be rotating into the team for a potential fight here.
Yeah, it looks like they just want to manually push on these lanes, and they know that the first Punisher was bottom, so I think they're trying to pressure out these walls, top and mid, to make sure that they get a desirable fight on top of the Punisher if they can get a subsequent one. And with the talent, well, there's not a talent lead now, but if they're trying to force the level 10 before the next Punisher, that could be what they're going for.
Definitely. We do have a little bit of a skirmish here happening kind of in the lane, outside of the lane all at once. We do have Kerrigan currently picking up that camp. They'll be pushing into the lane, and that should be kind of timed out with the next shrine, which will potentially be, I believe, mid or top. We do have a little bit of a dive here onto the Greymane, who was trying to get onto that backline. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to bite him in the butt again, and he will be falling to the Tassadar. Now, we do have the Sonya falling as well, and it looks like Oh My Science will just back off with the little advantage they have and start to push back those lanes and work towards 10s.
I mean, huge credit to Oh My Science there. They were all in focusing the Sonya, and when that Greymane came on the backline, the focus shifted instantly, and he was just blown up to bits in seconds.
It was an absolutely strong call from Oh My Science. Really good job of just communicating with the teammates and just saying, like, oh, look out for that flank. Here it comes. Let's dive on him. Turn that around. Once their main damage is gone, they have a Nazebo, yes. But at the same time, it's not going to be, you know, the amount of damage that you're going to need to end a fight or win over a fight.
And now, just like we were talking about, we have that level 10 to level 8 lead, which is 2 levels. It's really strong, plus the heroic talent. Uther falling to a pulse bomb, looking like Sonya's going to fall as well. Can you get the counter kill on Tyrael? No! The sound barrier coming out just in time from Lucio. That was really, really nicely played.
And this is one of the things that you and I were talking about during, you know, when we were loading into this game after the draft. This Kerrigan. So this is exactly what they're doing. They put Kerrigan on the top lane. They have the Tyrael in the mid. He's opening this up more. I mean, typically what I was actually talking about is just pushing in the lane your Punisher was going, but they spread out. They go ahead and they get a kill. I mean, I expect this to be a kill onto the Greymane. I don't think he really has an out at this point.
Yeah, he is.
So that is going to be, and I wouldn't be too surprised to maybe see them hold this Punisher. Nope. Okay. I was gonna say maybe hold it, wait for the team, but at this point we do have Tyrael just getting out of a fight there, not staggering a death or anything.
And I think the thought process there was that Axe Sentinels still don't have the heroic talent, so just get the Punisher. He does scale with time, but just get the Punisher finished and take that fight 12 versus 9. Not something you want to see in any game when you are on the level 9 team.
We currently have the Punisher being cleared in top, but in bottom, the rest of the team, Kerrigan is in that top lane just to kind of poke and show a little bit, and the rest of the team has just, you know, gone all the way into the bottom. We do have a nice force wall going up against the Sonya. She will be able to get out of there. They're going to lose the Punisher. They don't get a fort over here, and they just open up the keep gate, so I think they're honestly really banking on just, this next bottom lane Punisher being potential game ending for them. Actually, Force Wall going out, Pulse Roundez out, and that is going to be Sonya dying. Greymane jiving in, trying to save his friend, and it looks like he will be the next one to fall as well.
13 kills to 0. Again, I can't believe we ever questioned this composition. It seems almost godly on this map right here, but it is all about the plays. I don't think it's the matchup. I think the Kerrigan Tracer play have both been just top notch.
It has been an absolute just like really, really good play by them. I mean, the way that they're getting these dives off are just phenomenal. We actually have a little bit of a fight here going on between Battery and Dr. Luigi. Force Wall goes out for the separation. Dr. Luigi taking quite a bit of damage. There's the dive in from the Kerrigan. Whole lot of damage going out. There is the actual
Divine Storm, and we have a leap as well.
Sanctification came out, but unfortunately the Divine Storm, as cool as we talked about it, Pulse Round going to potentially, that's going to be Sonya falling as well. So pretty much the entire team falling to just Tracer there. She kill-stealed every kill. And it looks like she wants to try and go on Greymane either, right? But no, that Divine Storm, I saw it go off, and my brain just kind of just like paused. I was like, oh, they did it!
I saw the pics. I saw Divine Storm leap. I said, oh, this could be it. Maybe they'll turn it around, but not quite enough. 3-level lead. I mean, they have those 13 talents now coming out. Really, this is really difficult. I don't know how you actually recovered. They are way down, but they haven't lost a keep, which is, one shining light for them for the end of this game, as long as they can.
Luigi gonna get bodied there by the Force Wall. Looks like we do have a little bit of a skirmish here. Just a lot of back and forth posturing. Doesn't look like we're gonna have anyone trying to go in. Another Force Wall gonna be coming out here. Pulse Round's going to go out. That is going to be the Uther falling here. He does have Ghost Form healing for his teammates. That's actually going to be the counter kill onto the Kerrigan. This is the thing that they could potentially start to win over on. Maybe, just maybe. But unfortunately, they actually get the Force Wall onto Tron. And it looks like he will be able to actually get out of there with the Armor of the Undead. But at this point, the Shrine's been... I mean, they can still dive onto the Shrine. And another Force Wall for the disengaged leap does go out. But they're just going to keep walking away.
Yeah, I think there's the slow disengage onto the Shrine, waiting for Kerrigan to come up, and the Maelstrom is reloaded. And so is Sanctification. They're just sort of trying to draw them away from this keep so that Tracer and Lucio can move back in and start picking them off again. Oh, Tyrael's going in.
There's the Sanctification. We actually get the kill onto the Sonya, though, and actually the kill as well onto Arthas. We do have the Greymane falling on top of that, and at this point, I don't know how they really start to come back from this. We talked about a little bit of that back foot stuff, but it's how can you?
Tracer with 18 kills so far in this game. It's worth noting.
We actually do have Nazeebo getting killed again, so to make that 19. They're going to go ahead and start to burn down this keep a little bit here. Some of them a little bit low on mana as well as health. They're going to need to want to watch that, as a few of these members are coming back full and with just about all of their ultimates intact.
Yeah, this could be a dangerous situation despite their big level lead. Let's see, as they try to make some aggression happen, they just can't finalize it. It seems like they can't even really put anyone below about 20 or 30%. As soon as they do, the sound barrier comes out, and then, let the killing begin.
No, absolutely. And meanwhile, once again, we have another Force Wall go out. That is going to be the kill onto Uther. But while all that was happening, the one thing that we have to note, Kerrigan just kind of disappeared from the fight and just went to the Shrine and went and got a Mortar Punisher. So that's been sieging down bottom. We do have a jump on to Nazeebo. He ice blocks, and that will be the death of him. We currently have Sonya giving the spray out, but at this point, with the Punisher currently barreling down on this keep and the minion wave coming up, this is kind of the last defense for Axe Sentinels.
Yeah, I hope that all those HGC players are watching, because this is looking extremely strong coming out of Oh My Science. It's hard to say whether it's the just the play or the composition, but the punishment was absolutely brutal. 33 kills to 1, and Oh My Science is going to take that game over Axe Sentinels.
I mean, they put on a clinic on just, this is how you do this. This is our dive comp, and how are you going to respond to it? And the other thing too is they had the Arthas very early, and I believe they had the Greymane Uther very early. And personally, I kind of wish they would have gone for maybe a little bit of some sort of disengage from the dive. Maybe picking up a Stukov. I know they might have not needed it, but maybe the Stukov instead of the. I don't know. It's just one of those things like they didn't have any disengage from the dive onto them. So anytime Tracer would be able to get in there was no way of just pushing the rest of the team back. And if she did have the not blink, I can't remember her E talent, her warp back. Anyways,
recall
she'd be
or Tracer.
Recall, thank you. Yeah, because if you flailing swipe and she does recall, she'll just be kind of isolated from the team. So it's just one of those things at that point. It's just like, I don't know. Like I think the Stukov would have been a little bit more beneficial, but either way, still just a fun, a great first game we got into.
Yeah, it was super exciting. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't always go back, and hindsight's 2020. And the Nazebo also was the pick to me that seemed a little bit more bold, I guess you would say, because there's just so many things you can pick in that situation that have some kind of disengage, Falstad, Leeming, even just something with a little bit of safety that you could always back up. And Cassia, something a little more sturdy to try to withstand the insane aggression. But I don't know if it would have been enough. The Tracer play, the Kerrigan play, I mean, you think about that early fight where Kerrigan pulled and stunned 3 members, and then Tracer just continued to be aggressive on the back end and pick up a manual kill with no pulse bomb. That's some good gameplay, just solid, knowing exactly what they can get away with that composition. Seems very practiced, that's for sure.
It was just a really, really good composition, and it also showed that they knew that they were what they were doing. They had an idea and they executed it very well. And the other thing that we have to mention here is just the communication between them is just exactly that. When there was that Greymane flank, like you called it exactly, like he came out of the bush and they went, whatever they were doing, they just turned around and went on him. And just the overall just response from the team and how they played, it's very, very synergized and it's very strong. And we're actually going to be following them into the next game here, but we got to wait a little bit while we set up the next lobby here. So speaking about just maps and just compositions, things like map wise, like where would you like to go next?
It's probably not where we're gonna end up. I'm a huge fan of Warhead Junction. All 5-minute cheeses aside, I love that map. It's just really fun. I like the control and the poke. But realistically, we're not going to see that. A lot of the competitive players sort of don't like that map. I'd love to see a Towers of Doom game. I'd love to see a really close Towers of Doom game. I don't think there's anything better. You can have your 1% core wipes and such, but the close Towers of Doom game, especially the turnarounds, those are the real spicy games of HOTS that I love to eat up.
Now, casting wise, yes, I would absolutely love to. I love casting on Towers of Doom, those reverse, the reverse games, but being on the receiving end of it, oh my god, it's just bad. Like insta tilt. Like you're like, we was 24-4. What's happening, team? Like it's 8-4. But then when you win it over, you're just like, okay, I think we need to take a break. Like we're done. We don't queue again for a little bit here.
Yeah. But when you're on the winning end of those two, you just sort of go, what? How did that actually happen? I'd love to see that. Cursed Hollow, always for standard play, probably the most practiced map over time by any player. I can't even imagine how many Cursed Hollow games I've played at this point.
Oh my god.
Hundreds.
I actually really, really like Cursed Hollow because of the fact that it's fun because like it's, I don't know, like if standard is the right word, but it's a very, it's the only thing that's very random on it is the, some of the curses, but you can predict a decent amount of them as long as you keep on top of it. but the drafts that you can get from it, you can get completely different drafts. I mean, you can go from like a Lost Vikings, strong 4-man rotation kind of draft where you just focus on having the Vikings soak and you go around getting picks and things like that. Or you build these drafts where you actually, you do specific laning matchups or you do double global. So the variety of things that you see on Curse Hollow I absolutely love it. But, things on like Battlefield of Eternity or Infernal Shrines, you look for, like wave clear or shrine clear, wave clear, like, high single target damage, like Vala. So it's a lot of things like that, you're limited on some maps, but I feel like Curse Hollow is just like, you could pick whatever and it can work with the right composition.
Yeah, because you can, any combination of those things work. Boss control, even single target damage comes up when you're fighting the bosses, poke, all that stuff. What I'm interested to see that you just reminded me of was Blizzard dev said recently that they're going to try to standardize the spawns of, or make it more apparent what spawns are going to be coming up. Hopefully that's something
I hope it's coming out of a visual indicator. Not like it's easier to predict, because I honestly like that there is a randomization to it, because you like on the third one you can pretty much posture your team up. You're like, all right, top middle, top right, you're like probably going to be bottom left, so you can posture your team around there, get a little bit of advantage. So I'm hoping that they mean more like visually, because they added the audio to it, which was that's a very good that was a great enhancement, because when I first heard it, I was just like, oh my God, I broke the game. Like I never heard the sound until I think I was casting one time.
Yeah, the curse sound. I think that's the case. I think they're going to illustrate the upcoming, and I believe what they meant, the dev mentioned, was curses and how the immortals spawn on Battlefield of Eternity. Whether they're going to spawn top, bottom, and then where they're going to swap to, just giving you more visual cues so that you can posture and set up more and don't feel, when you're both going for the boss play and then you all of a sudden you're both 2 out of 3, you both go for the boss, and then your tribute just spawns right next to your team. Feels great when it's on your side of the map, but right. I mean, at least if you have that visual indicator, you can abandon your own boss call and start to move across the map if you have about 45 seconds to a minute lead on that. It won't give you the timer, I don't think, but a little ghostly image, that would be, I think that'll, again, not standardize is probably not the right word, but it will develop the strategies. Yeah.
Visual buffs, because I think I was playing Sky Temple a little bit ago, and I was just talking to my buddy, and I was just like, I just peeked down the bottom, and the icons look different ever since I want to say Ana or Junkrat, the temple icons are a little bit more clear. Like before they were very muddled and dark, and now they read very they're more transparent. And when you actually get the capture, the coloring is a little bit more it's noticeable on the screen. When it happened before, it was just kind of happening in the bottom. And I don't know, it's just they're doing a lot more things in the game where it pops up, but it's not it doesn't. I don't comparing it to other MOBAs. There's these big area effect things that are happening for something that's just a buff or a debuff, things like that. So I like that they're taking the time to balance it.
Yeah, I want to mention something about that, but I could draw some hate from the chat, so I'm weary to do it. But I love, since the Ana patch, that they've also added the little debuff and buff icons over the bars. Specifically, when you're Ana poisoning someone and Lunara poisoning someone, you see a little icon on the bar. I noticed it when I was playing Valera in Quick Match, so that her combo points are displayed right there over her. And it's great. I never have to look down to the left to figure out, do I have a 3-point eviscerate, and am I gonna kill this Chromie in Quick Match? But the answer is always yes, so I don't even have to look.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like one of my favorite maps, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and one of your favorite maps, Warhead Junction, are going to be banned out for this matchup, but we are going to be going to Battlefield of Eternity. So, another Diablo-themed map, but still, another map where I said there's a lot of, standardized things that you go for, that high target value, and, it's a 2-lane map, so the compositions change here, but still, you still get some variations, you still get some cool stuff.
Yeah, I love this map. I can't talk enough about this map. What I really love about this map is it lends itself to opening up possible Artanis picks with that amateur opponent. He's insanely strong on this map. Artanis is one of my favorite heroes, and his his single target damage is not quite as high as a Bala Greymane, who I expect to see maybe even as bans early on, but Bala Greymane, Malthael, and Artanis really bring a ton of race potential. And it's also interesting to see whether we're going to see more racing or more fighting, because sometimes the teams just elect to race one another and then hash it out once the immortal spawns, no matter who wins. But some teams just go all in, and the all-in fight strategies do lead to quicker games because you're looking at those high shield immortals coming out. So I'm interested to see which way the teams go with this.
And the other thing that we can see here on top of just those, like, just kind of, just mentioning all these different things that you're saying, like, just on top of that, like Lunara, Greymane, I mean, Alarak, these are all just, they're not standard, like they're pickable in any situation, but it's just like we often see them here because there's so much value to them in a 4-man rotation, in exactly what you mentioned in a fight scenario. Alarak technically becomes a divey hero at 10 if you choose to do that, so he works in a dive composition much like a Greymane or as we saw in the last one, a Kerrigan. So just a lot of really good drafts coming, a lot of really good draft from that first game just coming out from oh my god, oh my science, I gotta write this down.
I would love to see some Alarak success because he is picked a lot, and I feel like especially in the last couple months, whenever I see an Alarak pick, it often falls flat on its face, and I just want Alarak to see some success. I would love for that kind of play to become a little more prevalent, that sort of scary aggression as the meta rotates. I can't talk about how excited I am for BlizzCon to be coming up and seeing what kind of weird tournament meta we end up by the end, because every other time we're seeing a lot of Tyrael and Stitches like rise to the top. So I'm wondering if we'll see some nano boost Alarak. You always have to consider the nano boost now that we have Ana.
I mean, I always think nano boost Gul'dan. That's the combination that I always think is just terrifying if you get that fell flame, and then or you go into corruption and you just go for the reduction and like post like 13, 16, like Gul'dan with nano boost would be terrifying.
Have you seen the nano boosted Murky with the slime build? That is
I have not actually. I have to check into that. That is
It's actually horrifying. It's horrifying. I never want it to become a thing because it's death for all the people on the receiving end of it.
I mean, so just speaking to some, you're talking about like, end of ACC where we're going to end up, like, how things are going to be shifting after we literally see the clash of just, global, here's the storm. What do you think? Like, because I've been seeing on Twitter, like here and there, like people talk about like sleeper picks, like, I've heard some murmurs, but I've also I've seen like Zul'jin and Jaina, like, they got reworks, but not a lot of Zul'jin play. I don't think actually he wasn't available to be viewed after his rework because it just came through on the 17th.
Yeah.
So, but either way, like Jaina wasn't picked that much either, to my knowledge. So it's a lot of these, like, I don't know, you don't see them too often. I'm curious.
I definitely expect to see Jaina coming out of Mene on Dignitas. I know that just having watched all at HGC, Trick and Keldor talk about how Mene loves Jaina, and I think he's probably been waiting. I think we'll see Jaina and Zul'jin. I've been on the receiving end and I've seen Zul'jin. I feel like he's extremely powerful in those 4-man rotations, especially something like Brax's Holdout, where he can just stack early. It's almost the same effect as Chromie is right now, where you're seeing Chromies completing their quest at 3-4 minutes, and a Zul'jin doing something like that. It's horrifying. It's terrifying.
I think I was casting a game last night and someone, like, the last time I remember looking at the number, it was like 90 something, and the game went on for a little bit more after that. So it was still like just, whew, that is not something I would want to deal with. And to be honest, like a lot of the time I've talked with people, like the one thing that I do know, which potentially we could see as a like counter to a Chromie coming out often, Medivh. That backline dive that he has, You just walk through with your entire team. They're behind, and now the enemy team has to retreat through you. Picking up something like an ETC, that is a great combination. But either way, let's go into Battlefield of Eternity and actually talk about the things that we're going to be seeing here.